Today we're tackling the heaviest part of any build, when the excitement fades and the grind sets in. This is where most projects die off, but we're breaking down how to push through, finish strong, and actually enjoy the payoff. And along the way, we share some disturbing and downright disgusting project car stories. Plus, a potential project that will break the internet.
Push comes to shove, this dude from Germany messages the play. Yeah.
And my friend opened up the McDonald's bag that was over a decade old, and the French fries looked like they were made yesterday. It gets
Nice.
worse. Just get ready.
I think if you're going less than 10 cylinders, you got it wrong.
Unless you're in a position where you can take the moral high ground and say, kick rocks, I guess you're putting diapers and chicken wire in the Dodge.
Hey, cars!
So I have reached the point in every build where I'm kind of, even though I'm well over the hump, I'm kind of just like getting discouraged and wondering why I decided to completely redesign and tear apart a perfectly good truck that I could have drove across the country with, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now I just had to spend a lot of money and tear it all apart to change it for not necessarily anything necessary.
Yeah, well, that's customizing cars. I mean, it's easy to make it look cool, but to make it function after it looks cool, I think we talked about that. That's 98% of it.
Yeah, just like it seems like every big project I do, I always get to like one point where I'm just like, why do I do this to myself?
Yep. This car right here, my car, same thing. I cut it apart right before I pulled the trigger on starting a business, and boy, that was a bad idea. I should have just left it together.
Could have been driving it the whole time.
Oh, the whole time. The whole time. Yep. It's a drivable car. Well, not right now. But
Well, it's maybe it's drivable, but it's got some extra venting, right now.
yeah, I drove it here the way it was. And I was getting thumbs up the whole way just because it was still Clicoed together, kind of like it is now. But it was like, it looks like the Hellraiser kind of thing, driving down the road with all the Clicos hanging out of it, holding it together.
I do think that there is some sort of magic to a vehicle that's got a whole bunch of Clicos on it. Like it's got like a Frankenstein
for
look
sure.
to it.
Yep, I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got my truck together.
You got to go all the way.
Oh yeah, there's no going back. I mean, I cut the shock. There's been cutting to the frame and all sorts of stuff.
Great.
But I did drive it this week, and it was oddly well mannered. Even though I know I talked about the spring rates being a little off on my soft side, but so it's sagging pretty low in the front. It's got like the 70s rake where it's like leaning forward, and then since it's like 8-foot track width in the front, it's super wide and leaning forward. It's like a bulldog right now. It looks super aggressive, but it was really well mannered, and like the steering felt good and everything was stiff. It wasn't like walking all over the road, which is, I don't know, when you just blow the proportions out of stuff, there's like always that risk that there's going to be more movement.
Right.
But
so you hit that jump.
It felt cool. Yeah. I did realize as I was doing it, I did just kind of the standard tie rod extension where you just build like a heavy wall sleeve that just extends your tie rod setup. I did realize that I should have just went with a double Heim joint setup and then set my rack and pinion up to run off a Heim joint. I didn't realize how simple it would be until I was putting everything together, and I went, oh, I could literally just bolt something to my rack. I never really blew the rack and pinion apart in my head to realize that I could make a Heim joint bracket in like an hour that would bolt on. And then I just have to, and then I had the other revelation because I was always like, well, I don't want to lay, huh?
So your time is free, so it doesn't really matter, right?
I like to think my time is the most valuable thing I have.
No doubt.
So I'd never really thought that I could just go Heim joint on a stock spindle without, or without making a tapered bolt that goes into your taper on your where your
But
tie rod bolts.
to the taper,
What was that?
or just drill.
Yeah,
I guess if you're straight into the taper, you just drill it out. You should be fine.
yeah. I realized the other day while I was looking at it because I never thought deeply about it. I was just like, oh, I need to build a spindle. And then I realized, oh, I could just drill it out to the large size of the taper and then run a straight shank bolt. Um, so sometimes, even though you think of everything to get it going, you could have thought
Is
of
that what
more
you're doing?
things to make it better. Um,
Are you going for it?
I will. I'm probably going to drive it for a little while and enjoy it, and then
You never know. There might be other things that come up too that you might want to change at the same time. You know.
yeah. And so I'm gonna drive it for a little bit, and then I'll go with Heim joints, and then drill it out and make it so I've got some big misalignment spacers because I should be able to get way more articulation on it with a Heim joint setup than a tie rod
Oh,
setup.
for sure. Well, you'd think it would last longer. Maybe not. I guess. I
Uh,
guess it. I guess it
I
depends
think
on how you drive it too.
yeah, if I'm articulating a lot, I think that it will last longer with a Heim joint setup. Whereas tie rods, I think I'm going to be kind of pushing them to their limit a lot.
If you take them to the limit, though, that's when they're getting wrecked.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to strap it a little short with the limit straps. So everything only goes, like 12 inches of travel right now, just so I'm not beating everything up. And realistically, right now, I don't need any more than that. And then when I can get way more if I build an engine cage instead of keeping the stock aprons. The good part of that is all I have to do for an engine cage, or the only thing that my aprons are supporting, are my radiator. So to build an engine cage wouldn't be a big deal. I could just cut them off, plate the firewall, and weld up an engine cage, bolt in crossover. Like I don't
Sure.
know. People generally call it like a shock tower brace or something like that. But I do a big bolt
Yeah.
in one of those, and then I can get my shocks up higher and use more up travel, um,
Sure.
and then land them in a better zone of their setup right now. And then I'll be able to get more down travel too because there'll be more inboard mounting because I was kind of limited by the setup that with the using some stock areas of the truck still. So
Sure.
and then I'll be able to go like a full 19 inches of travel once I move it out to that. But
That's a lot.
but I was excited because while driving it in a couple of the turns, it was like rainy out and stuff, so I wasn't pushing it too hard. And especially with it raked out, it just kept spinning rear tires if I'd hit the gas at all. But in the corners, I noticed if I go into a corner and I turn hard and hit the gas, that the other end would raise up pretty good. So I have a feeling with it strapped and everything, I'll be able to lift a tire like a stadium truck in a corner.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I feel like that'll be
Yeah.
my party trick.
Right? Oh, no. That'd be pretty fun. Oh man, that sounds fun. I need to get my car done.
The first step to getting it done is working on it at all.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's just a lot of welding.
What have you
I
been
have
working on this week?
getting the Uniside put in the '69 Mustang over there. I needed a tool for pulling out this one little area, so I just decided to wait for it. So then I jumped back on the '66, getting the air ducting stuff, the main fabrication done there. Just gotta like cap it off and do the ends and trim the holes out a little better and stuff. So we're getting some stuff together, but yeah, it's just cutting that Uniside out and fitting a new one in with the quarter panel installed because it was oh shit, we need these things installed. You got to sneak it in there. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, did you decide to just go piece by piece and kind of like put braces in while you're doing it?
Yeah, so we braced up. Had to take the pinch clamps off the bottom on the frame rack, and because obviously the rocker gets pinched in there with it, so I just tacked in some pieces of steel I had that keeps everything in four different places from front all the way to the back, to keep it square and flat where we needed it, and they had a couple braces inside for the roof the roof bows just to make sure that they don't get out of whack. And I got in the front side needs to go up like a, I don't know, 3/8, half inch somewhere in there. So I need that last little bit fixed in the back so I can tweak everything up. And these unisides there's a lot involved. You gotta, like when something doesn't fit, you gotta stare at it for a while to figure out why.
Yeah, it's holding a lot of pieces up at the same time.
Yeah, and it's aftermarket, so it's not going to fit exactly the way it did from the factory, but it surprisingly fits pretty good. I mean, once you get it tweaked up, I can see where it would twist. You can twist it and put it in there, and it would fit like shit until it gets untwisted, kind of a thing. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that they were actually fit halfway decent. They're pretty much hitting the marks they need to hit. So
Who makes the Unicide for 69? Is that like Dynacorn or something?
yeah, I think Dynacorn's the only one that does make it at all. I think because they make the full body, so this is part of their full body that they make.
I know it's not necessarily your usual realm, but I saw yesterday that on Alibaba, you can buy an entire 1986 Corolla hatchback body and chassis. Somebody in China is
86.
repopping the whole thing, like the initial D car.
How is that? Is there a calling for that?
Oh yeah, 86.
Really?
So in initial, you ever seen Initial D, the anime with the drifting?
Yeah, I no, not
Okay,
at all.
it's probably like I said, probably out of your realm. But there was like there's multiple movies about it, like real life movies.
Hmm.
The real guy that
I mean, I know
started,
what they look like. I know what the drift car looks like. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty familiar with that.
yeah, it's like a
And it's
white and
pretty.
black hatch.
Yeah, but it's like still really
I think it said they're like $8,500 for an entire repop body,
made out of what?
steel,
Huh.
China. It's hard to guarantee the quality of it, but it's like
Wow.
you can get a
I
whole.
mean,
I mean, in all realism, the original quality wasn't that high on them. That there's not a lot of them left because they were just, what I mean. They were originally like a commuter car, and then the guy that I can't remember his name. It's like uh, I'd have to look it up. But the guy that is the original Drift King that like started drifting in Japan, that's what he drove. So they like have a lot of lore and fame around them, and so like all the drift
get that.
kids,
Wow.
that's a big dollar car now. You can't get in Florida. You cannot get a 86 style Corolla hatchback rear-wheel drive for under 10 grand, even if it's a piece of crap.
So if a guy had like a drivetrain, you could buy one of these. It's probably cost you $5,000 to get it over here, though.
Yeah, I don't know how much. A lot. So sometimes on Alibaba, they'll have like low freight stuff. It's part of the pricing.
What is this Alibaba? Well, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I
So
feel like an old person now.
Alibaba is a online. Um, it's like eBay. Let's say it's like eBay or Amazon, but it's to buy things from
Hmm.
China.
Oh,
So you just go on there and you can get anything. You can get like I could order shocks, like off-road shocks for my truck, like long travel ones, give them the
sure.
specs, and some company in China will make them and then send them to me. The problem is um, I'm sure can make an excellent product, but the problem is a lot of times where you get even Chinese products that are for American companies, they have American quality control. So it
Yeah,
comes
yeah, yeah.
here, it gets quality controlled, it gets some company here's name put on it, and then
Sure.
goes out to customers. So since somebody's putting their name on it, they demand a certain quality, and then because it's an American, I'm not saying America is necessarily like the high standard, but I'm just saying because
Oh,
you're
I get what you.
you're ordering it for your company and you're putting your name on it, and you're probably ordering at volume, you can kind of
Mhm.
demand certain standards out of the manufacturer.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas if I order one part from them, I don't really matter.
Right.
So, um, not to say you can't get good stuff. The CNC we got for my work, we actually got through Alibaba, and
Really?
let's
Hmm.
say tens of thousands of dollars. And
I believe that.
but it's like I said, it's just a platform to be like a middle ground for people to communicate. It's like eBay where it has guarantees.
Sure.
Um, like shipping and everything is tracked through this website. So if somebody doesn't get their product, they can get their money back. There's like protections for the consumer and for the seller, just like if you were on eBay. So
Sure.
it's neat. My kid likes to go on there with like $20 and order like $60 worth of like, fishing garbage or little RC cars and stuff like that. Because you get them direct from China, so you're not paying Walmart's middle fee or you know what I mean.
Sure.
Insert
Sure.
store name here.
Sure. That's interesting. I don't need to. I don't need to be. I don't know if I need to be checking that out right now.
Yeah, I don't
I
I
don't
don't
need to
think it serves any purpose for you. But it is interesting.
yeah.
I couldn't believe when I saw that somebody's taking the time to reproduce a 1986 Corolla.
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess if they got the stamp, I mean, as long as somebody bought the dies to it and they're just hammering them out, I guess must be.
I don't even know that like well, I mean, I guess they probably started with making aftermarket fenders like Dynacorn. They started making aftermarket, quarters and fenders, and then all of a sudden they were like, well, we've got so much of it, let's just repop the whole car.
Because China makes all the panels for all this stuff. I mean, even Premier cabs, they said they work with a die company in China to make those things, and they send them back and forth until they're, like you said, their quality can, their it's to their quality and their dies are right. So now we can start producing. So if you look at Dynacorn, I think you can buy a '69 Mustang shell for like 18 or 19 grand. So I mean, you break it down to what it actually would cost in China, that probably equates to 10, 8, 10 grand probably.
Yeah,
With markup and shit, I would suspect. I don't know.
a lot of that stuff's getting a damper on it because of the tariffs and steel prices and all that. But
Anticipation of and all that different shit.
yeah, they a lot of stuff over there. Where was I going with that? So they just have a lot more infrastructure for like industry and stuff like that, and I think maybe they have less regulations to fight than we do. Whereas, um, I just heard like Samsung wanted to make microchips here in America. They built a whole place. They did it. They spent billions of dollars, and then because we don't have decades of building these things like they do in Taiwan or where I think that's where Samsung has their stuff made. Um, they just don't they spend all the money to set it up here and we don't have all the experience and the people and all that stuff, and then they ended up closing the factory because it just wasn't hitting their quality marks.
Yeah, they bought. I thought it was Samsung that bought a bunch of land in southern Wisconsin, and it's like a whole debacle thing. We're gonna make these LCD screens, and then supposedly after they bought it, they realized the geology of the lot they bought was like not sturdy enough, literally, to make these screens. So like it's a whole thing. They were gonna like
Hmm.
make a whole town or revamp the whole town, and yeah, it was. I don't know. Anyways,
I think I know what you're
yeah,
talking about. I don't think it was Samsung, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't remember who it was. Foxconn.
Yeah,
Fox.
I think they make Apple products, if I'm
Yeah.
correct. Um, More about cars.
Yeah. Right. Cars. Got a little more room come in here. We got rid of both the roadster bodies, so now we got it lined up where we have a few more projects coming in the door. Hopefully, one this next week, and then the end of this month, another one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty excited about it.
Did you dig into any more greens trying to figure out your 66?
No, we're like some of that's just in phases. We're waiting to kind of hear back from the customer what he thinks, and uh, we're not even close to paint work yet. So to
Yeah, it's
me,
not a
it's just
rush.
getting. I just need to get the outside of the car finally welded together. Like the when I say that, I mean the scoops need to be welded in yet, and the quarter windows. Just there's a flange that needs to be welded in for the window to get glued to. But the body doesn't need too much. Now it's just going to be getting the everything under the hood, everything adapted. There's a lot of stuff that mechanically needs to get like adapted to the car. Just to getting the fuel pedal in there, that's going to be a bunch of work. So
Yeah, you said you need like a
like
cantilever set up.
yeah, and it's all like upside down work too, so that's always fun, right? doing the
Right.
hot. Yoga.
Um, yeah, I saw you were getting somewhere on the ducting for the radiator through the hood.
Yeah, those are not easy pieces to make because that radiator is flat and the hood is, the hood is arched in every direction up front,
Right.
and then the vents are the cutouts are in that, and they're lined up really well with all the body lines in the hood and the front end, so everything's pretty symmetrical up there. But yeah, just lining it up from the radiator to the top of the hood opening, that's like, whew, a lot of in and out.
Would have
It's
been
a,
probably easier without the engine in there, so you could like just sit up
I,
under it.
I think so, but it did not saying every chassis flexes a little bit,
Hmm.
but making sure that those body lines are right, and the fenders are bolted in, everything's bolted in the right spot. Having the engine transmission in did change they always kind of change the fender gap a
Yeah.
little bit. When you're maybe not enough for the regular person to notice, but enough for when you're building a high end car that you want it done, you want it right off the bat, and ignoring that would be a big no no. So
Yeah. It all counts.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to. I kind of want to take it to some shows this winter, hopefully, potentially in bare metal. It'd be really cool. Get a little more adapted under the hood, so it almost, not saying I want to take it somewhere and make it look like it's a driver, but it would look more like a driver, with all the pedals installed, the dash stuff installed, the HVAC stuff. Um, so it'd be nice to do that. I think like Milwaukee World of Wheels would be kind of cool to do, but we'll see.
Do you have an enclosed trailer set up to get do you transport a car like that?
No, no, no. So we'll be figuring all that stuff out.
I
I really don't
I
have aspirations to have a truck and trailer. It's like a lot of overhead for what you're the bang like the bang for the buck. It's just not there. You can hire somebody to do it and still be money ahead for the year.
Yeah, I just I guess I'd never considered it, but I have a friend taking two cars to GTR Fest in Texas, and I
It's a
was
big
like,
liability.
I went, well, how are you gonna, you got a two car enclosed trailer, or what's the plan for that? And he goes, oh, we're just renting one.
Yeah,
And I didn't even really realize you could rent enclosed trailers. Like,
yeah. Even then, man, it's a lot. I don't want to be the guy pulling two cars in an enclosed trailer. Like that's not. No thanks, man.
well, they already have a diesel shop truck and are used to hauling stuff around.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that too, but even I don't even really like driving anybody else's stuff,
Right.
you know. So pulling a rented trailer with your stuff inside of it sounds like, oh my god, from Florida to Texas, that's a long
Tennessee to
haul, dude.
Texas is what he's doing, but yeah. Um,
Oh sure,
Still, I mean, it's about the same drive, I imagine.
yeah, right. Right.
It's a
Yeah, no,
long
it's hopefully
haul.
gonna do for a show. I would like to do because we work well with a couple other businesses in town, so it'd be cool to have like a couple businesses go and make it worth not just our time but somebody else's time as well. Um, we'll see. I don't know. Should probably be banging those details out now before it actually gets to like a month ahead of time, right?
Yeah, so you don't get
So
like the SEMA crunch.
yeah, right. Hopefully one day we'll get there, but I can't imagine a shop this small having a SEMA crunch. If it is, it's just gonna be me scrambling, scratching my head like I normally am. So
Oh, well, status quo. So
right.
what kind of seals do you plan on using to uh, get that ductwork to tight to the hood when you're running?
Yeah, I was actually I have some. I ordered some online because we usually go with PRP, which is um, precision something something. They're out of
Replacement
Wausau.
parts.
Yeah, whatever it is. Um, but some of the stuff that I always pick something out and it's like, well, they don't have it in stock or they're not making it anymore. It's like, well, why is it on the website? So I found some stuff on a different website. It should be here today or tomorrow, but it's just like it's adhesive on the, I think was it adhesive or was it, yeah, it was adhesive. It was just a D, just a round D. And it was
Okay.
pretty tall, so it would collapse a lot. That's what I was looking for, something that would, so the pressure of the hood wouldn't like push the ducting down
Right.
because you mounted really well, but I don't want to push up on the hood as well too. So you want something that's actually gonna like take up some. I figured out that it probably should be about a 1/4 inch tall when it's collapsed. So that's kind of what I factored for, or a little more than that, just so there's room for
Yeah, plus
mushy
the
mush.
hoods flex when you're going down the highway.
Yeah, yeah, all that, all that for sure. But until I get it here, I don't really want to go too much farther. I finally had a time to make a 1/4 inch like bevel, a 1/4 inch bevel to tooling for the Pullmax. So I got to use my Pullmax Friday again. It's always fun to get to be able to use your big
Big
tools.
tools. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Um, Oddly enough, Precision Replacement Parts, the gasket company, if you ever need, I have their main engineer's phone number. I was like on texting basis with him. Uh, when I had my Fair Lady Z, I don't know if I think they had a Cars and Coffee event, or maybe because he lived in my neighborhood, he drove by and saw it. But
Oh,
somehow I got hooked up with the engineer there because they had built a bunch of Datsun gaskets,
oh,
and
okay,
they needed to have a test car.
sure.
So they actually took my like 5 color Datsun Fairlady Z into their warehouse for like, I don't know, it was like a month and a half or something like that. And then they were making their install videos on their website for Datsun
Oh,
gaskets, or all of my car, which is funny because, like I said, like it was jammed out at that
sure.
point. It had like white epoxy primer on everywhere I had done replacements. And then the jams were all Lamborghini Arancio Argos, like deep orange, red, pearl tri-coat. And then there was like green fender or green doors. Like it was funny because it was like just
That's fun.
multiple
Yeah.
colors, and they're putting brand new weather stripping on. It's kind of backwards, but I think I might have jammed it because I knew they were going to be doing my gasket. So I was like, well, I don't want to have to repaint it
Oh,
or
sure.
whatever, pull it out to paint it. So
Let's do the gasket then.
they ended up, I don't know if what I can't remember what happened. Something got It was taking longer than planned, and then I was getting itchy not having my car at home, and then they only ever did half the gaskets because that's what they needed to do the videos.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
then the rest was just given to me in a box. But it was still like a good deal for me because I got a whole bunch of weather stripping, which is
Hmm.
like one of the most neglected things on old car projects. Like everybody will do everything but the weather stripping because there is no cool points
Yep.
to weather
And it's
stripping.
like one of the hardest things to do.
It's
Like the
expensive. Yeah, it's hard.
Kits are terrible nowadays. Not saying that's not. I'm not. That's not a rip on PRP because this stuff didn't for this '57 Chevy did not come from them. But like the window felts that are on the inside and outside of the rollable door, the
Yep.
door glass, right? Usually there's like a clip that pushes into a rectangle hole,
Yep.
or sort of a clip, right? These have nothing. Like, yeah,
So what are you supposed to just drill and rivet it?
and they're like, yeah, you have to cut them to length, drill them and screw them, or drill them and rivet them. Yeah.
If only there was a couple 100,000 '57 Chevy projects out there that somebody would think that it was valuable to make.
How are we here with '57 Chevy stuff? How have we not gotten better at this? But whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, especially for that car. You'd think Tri 5 would be somewhere somebody would invest.
Come on, really? You can't tell me all those cars were that far off to where they don't know where to put this, put this clip, whatever.
And I don't think
Fuck.
there's no door length differences for like a 210 versus a Bel Air or anything. It's just the post
Well,
maybe.
there would be a post and non-post cars, hard top, whatever.
So maybe that's
And
what
there,
they do.
but I don't know, man. The whole kit
Yeah.
has been kind of cheesy.
Yeah, fighting gaskets, and then if you got ones that you end up having to like glue where they're supposed to just pinch and hold, that gets really annoying.
Yeah, and then just getting stock gaskets in general that fit old cars or would work on old cars, or like the door gaskets that we have to put together for this 38 Nash. Like we had gaskets in there, but I think the top half of the door we're gonna have to we can save what we have, but the bottom half of the door we're gonna have to get something that's just a little bit narrower. It's just some of that stuff is agonizing because this car was originally clipped, or not originally, but it was this 38 was had from the about the center of the door and the roof, and then the back of the door on the floor. It was it must have been an accident or something, and that's where that somebody had clipped it together. Like it's all gas weld. It's like I hammered on the weld, and it was like a really good gas weld. So it was done a long time ago with somebody that was actually knowledgeable on how to do it. But yeah, it was pretty gnarly. So anything like the door openings, nothing's even stock. You know, it's all kind of stock hacked together. Not hacked together, but it's not stock. You know, it's we're just doing the best we can with the shape of the car that it is right now.
When you say gas weld, you mean like oxyacetylene?
Yeah. Hmm.
I did a fair amount of that when I was younger, not on cars, but uh, just in like classes and stuff. Which
Yeah, that was one thing I never learned really well how to do at all. I didn't
it
learn how to weld until 3 4 years ago. Well, anyways, not well enough. Um, but yeah, I was never really. We had it in high school, I think, but like gas welding, but it was never anything that. What are we going to learn this for? It was always seemed like backwards technology. But there's people that pull it off still today. I mean, they'll gas weld aluminum stuff, and yeah,
that
turns
sounds
out
hard.
pretty.
Um,
The guy that makes those little coach smithing planishing hammers, he makes Cobra bodies out of aluminum. He gas welds everything.
Wild.
Yeah,
I feel like just TIG is so accessible at this time. Like I wouldn't.
yeah. I mean, there's a guy that's in Appleton now. He just put out a video that he did laser welding on aluminum and ran it through one pass through his English wheel. And man, I don't know. I don't know if guys have gotten into that laser welding at all. I've done laser cleaning, like metal cleaning, but I've never gotten into welding at all. But man, I think that's going to be
The future.
hard to it's going to be hard to beat because it seems the usability you can, not that you want to be filling gaps, but it looks like you can fill a gap potentially with the stuff, and it looks like it hammered out the weld tests that some people have done. It's breaking next to the weld, which
Hmm.
so that I don't know if that means it's too brittle or not, or that's a pretty regular thing to have happen though.
Yeah. Yeah, it means the weld's strong. It also might mean that the weld made the metal brittle. But
Exactly. I mean, to a certain extent, it's going to, but you just want to make sure it's from my angle, it's a weld that you can manipulate.
speaking of old school repairs, what is worse than when you're sanding into a panel and you find where they use the old put a screw in and pull the dent technique?
That's always awesome. Yep.
I had a Camaro that my first car was a 79 Camaro, and I was sanding the quarter panels down, and started finding, it started being varying shades of like brownish pink, and then all of a
Hmm.
sudden you start hitting all the peaks of all the holes where they,
You start
uh,
to shave them off because you're sanding it all down. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you look on the backside and it's like a pasta press coming through the sheet metal of filler.
Press.
Play-Doh. It's like a Play-Doh press, yeah.
Yeah, that's all good stuff. Yeah, I've had all of it. Fiberglass, chicken wire. Uh, I don't think there's anything that I haven't. Actually, I lie because there's a couple videos out there of people that have like pulled out like a denim pair of pants from a door and shit. You've seen that kind of stuff. So I've never been that extreme, but usually, I mean, like tar, any of the ways I've seen it and pulled it out.
I've
It's
got
scary.
a funny story, but before I get to that, did you see when there was the viral trend of fixing holes with ramen?
Yes.
They're just like packing holes with ramen and then
Yeah.
letting it super glue and ramen. I saw people
Yep.
like break the corner off a countertop and do it, and then like
Yeah.
fill in holes in rust holes in
Like
rocker panels.
bricks on the side of the, or like like just shit on the sidewalk. Yeah, whatever.
What would you do if you actually went to sand a rocker panel and you just started hitting noodles?
That would be something. I mean, it's with this '69 Mustang in here when it came in. It was it was panel. Well, I shouldn't say when it came in here, because it followed me from my last job. So when it came there, and we started digging into it, they just wanted a motor put in it, and it was like together, right? So they start like prepping this car to mild. I should say mildly prepping to put a motor in it, and they're realizing that this whole car is flux core tacked together with panel bond and then seam sealer over the top of that.
Yeah, that's
Like,
frightening.
yeah, the whole car. Like they had patched the frame rails. Like there usually there's like frame rail patches you can put in the front over the where the front bumper bolts on. And there was like everything was just boogered, like so bad. I've never. They still to this day won't tell anybody. At least I haven't gotten the full story on where they got the car from. So I don't know. They did just bring in the some information on it that it's supposed to be lime gold. So I'm hoping they want to go lime gold with it. That would be cool. Versus they want to paint it black. I was like,
So much
I don't
black.
know. Well, and if it's a Q code car and it calls for, to me, it's like you can mess with it all you want, but make sure it's at least somewhat obtainable for somebody to put to a stock vehicle to at least maintain the value for yourself. Because
Right.
that's not me asking you to make it cooler. That's me making sure that your
Protecting
investment
an
stays.
investment. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with that the green for the 66. It's like I can think the color's cool all day long, but if the customer absolutely sees it and absolutely hates it, and some of these things are you got to absorb. I I don't have the opportunity right now to get these colors to the customer, but preferably I would like these speed spray out things to be like on the dash of your car. Like let the sun hit it, let the sun reflect back at you, and just let it sit with you for a while because when it's on your car, it's on your car. It's there for a long time. It's a big. I don't know. If I'm painting my car, I kind of know a color that I want to paint it, but it's going to be like the day of ordering the base coat. That's going to be like that's always a hard thing for me to nail down as a color for myself, anyways.
And that's why I just put 6 colors on my car.
But that's that your truck has a definitely a different. It's just a different vibe, and art is art. So it's hard to be like, all of this is to a certain extent you're trying to maintain people's values with stock vehicles and be logical that way. But at the same time, it's as if the guy wants it black, we're going to paint it black. Um,
Oh yeah.
it's, it's all art to me at the end of the day. It's art with titles.
I find too when it's on your own vehicle, the plans are always like in flux. And so like until it actually
Like
happens,
my
things are
whole
changing the whole
life.
time.
Yeah. To me, the longer I stare at my car, I want to. It sounds dumb. Um, Eventually, I want to put some sort of more power in my car, like a centrifugal supercharger or something like that. I'm not sure, but I do really. It's going to get air ride all the way around, but those like the front skirts on Rob Ida's Merc, I'd like really love that idea. I've always loved cars with front skirts, like Delahaye's and stuff. I just think it would be crazy for somebody to. It's crazy enough to see a car like that, but it'd be crazy to see it driving around with front skirts, even if because my front tires tuck real hard, even the way they sit right now. Like I could damn near get a full turn without having to have that skirt move out. So I think it'd be really cool. I just like it's art. It'd be rolling art down the road, man. It's so cool.
Hmm.
I like the stuff moving down the road though. Every car looks better moving down the road.
Yeah,
It
in
doesn't
motion.
matter. Doesn't matter if it's just going slow through a parking lot. Being able to hear that car move, to me is like I'd rather see that than stand in a sea of still cars. But
Yeah, I do get bored a little at car shows when it's just like parked car, parked car. Which I mean,
right,
like you have to have that so you can actually get around them and check them out. But there is like, I always like them better when it's like they have a cruise after or something like that. I've
or
actually
at least
been,
feel out at the same time.
you got me in my head last week when we were talking about car clubs and stuff like that, and then my wife saw somebody in our town was trying to start a classic car club, and then I said, "Can I enter with my 2002 Toyota?" That's almost a classic. It's over 20. Come on.
Yeah,
Uh,
can you put the plates on it yet?
I don't know what the year's in is Florida. I do actually plan to get different plates for the truck because just based on the color alone. They have a
Yeah.
black and yellow plate here, and I'm like, I just feel like black and yellow plate would look really sweet on the back of it.
That's why
But
everybody in Wisconsin has Road America plates now because they're black.
yeah, they just in the right car it just changes a lot. Makes
Yeah.
it look like a less pedestrian.
Yeah, no doubt.
But then I was thinking like because my son and I were following a the often thought to be ugly and disgusting FJ Cruiser. Somebody
Mm.
has one that has like just tasteful modifications and it actually just looked like a cool off-road ride. Which I haven't seen a lot of FJ Cruisers look cool, but it looked cool.
Right.
And we were following that, and I was like, maybe we need a truck club because this is South Central Florida. There's a lot of trucks. Um, but then I was like, I don't want to limit it. And then the more I got to thinking about it, the more I was like, I would really love to take my brand to a point where I could do like a once a year big event. Like
Yeah,
we
for
talked
sure.
about Drop Fest or
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever went to Top Shelf.
No,
It,
what's
it,
that?
so Top Shelf was in Appleton. I don't know if it's still there. But they rented a whole parking garage. And
Oh, that
so
sounds
there
fun.
were, dude, it was awesome because it's like a Tokyo Drift intro
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's super controlled because there's like generally one entrance. So you have
Yeah.
your people at the gate,
Mhm.
letting people in. So it's one entrance and one exit. So there's like people can't be really getting too crazy. So you don't have like that risk. Once they're out on the road, once they're out of the parking garage, they're out of your space. They're on the road. They're not like in a parking lot where they're doing burnouts and stuff because you're in
You're
a
right.
parking garage.
You go to like restaurants and shit downtown. That's kind of cool. I mean, that's a pretty neat idea.
And then like they had just regular cars kind of spiraling all the way up, like just not regular cars, but they had like your general car show um, people showing up, and they were like all the way on the way up. And then as you got to the upper levels, it was like people with higher end builds and people that paid more. So generally, the people that'll pay more for an entry ticket to be on the very top level, the top shelf, are like your higher end builds, or you know what I mean.
Right.
Um, so or
That's a
people
cool
with
name. That's a cool name with what they have going on. Top shelf.
yeah. I
That's pretty. I like that.
I got a top shelf. I had a top shelf sticker on something somewhere. I don't know. It was cool, but
Hmm.
and then they had like on the top floor they had the DJ and all that stuff and like all the flags and the banners and it just like made for a really cool environment because pretty much everywhere you're parked, I think every teenage car guy at some point went to the parking garage to take pictures of their car.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether it was just under a fluorescent light in a corner or you went to the top level, and then you got like the skyline behind you. Um, so it just kind of it fits that. I would want a place to go where there's a lot of photography ability. You know what I mean? To get like really cool shots of the cars, not just like because in a parking lot, there's no cool picture of a car in a parking lot.
Right.
I mean, it's just almost
Yeah.
all. It's just very bland. Um, and then there's always people and there's cars in the background. Like the parking lot's a great place to meet. It's a great easy way to get people to line up and walk around and check stuff out. But it just doesn't have like a scenery that's um, somebody's gonna see on a post online or in in the way I
You're
look
like,
at it in like a magazine and be like wanting to go there. Um, so I was like, I would like to try to get to the point where I could hold like a once a year big event and have stuff
it's a
like
big
that.
deal, though. Like that's putting an event on. I used to dabble in helping with putting an event on, and it's a lot of work. A lot of work. Like
My
a lot of.
friend, my friend up there did the he was on the board for the meltdown drags
Sure.
and that literally just got so big that they were like we can't really do this anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's once there's a threshold of people that once you get over the people, like get over that amount of people coming to your event, there's some things that are like generally out of your hands as far as like you need to do X, Y, and Z to make sure that this event happens. Otherwise, you can't. Like just general insurance for things like when you have like 8,000 people showing up to something that are only supposed to have a couple thousand people, like general things like porta potties become a problem, you know?
Yeah, and like the trash bins fill up
Yeah.
constantly and
Now you have to have a crew for emptying trash. Now you have to have The porta potty people stopping halfway through the day. I mean, there's like it doesn't become a car event anymore. It just becomes human, just human people walking around, sometimes bumping into cars.
Nobody likes that. Yeah, the venue rental and event insurance are the biggest hurdles, I
Mhm.
think, of the whole thing. Because I mean, it's not marketing isn't that hard anymore. It's so accessible to everybody. Um,
No, I think it's easy to get somebody there. I mean, look at that Storm Area 51 thing. It was just some kid in the mall, and there's like thousands of people, and millions of dollars got spent on this thing.
yeah,
Um,
in, in time, I'll figure it out. I gotta find like the place to do it. I think that that would be the big first step because, um, like I sent you on the Tommy Kentner YouTube channel. Um, my friend was at that. It was a mine that they were at a car event in, and then did I send that one to you? Where they're
I
all
don't,
like in this cave
I
and
don't
the
think so.
cars.
Maybe.
Oh, really? Oh, I gotta send it to you. So,
Huh,
it's an event in a cave, like it's an old mine shaft
sure.
that they turned into like a convention area, kind of. I don't know. They said it's like 300,000 square feet or something like that, but they only had like a small portion of it for the event, obviously. But
I saw somewhere that they stored Ford Mavericks in caves. I've seen pictures of that. There's like a cave that they stored cars in for a while. I can't remember. I thought it was like a Ford. I thought it was a Ford cave or something like that. But yeah, it was. I thought it was Ford Mavericks, like 70 or something like that.
hmm, why did they store them in caves?
They just needed somewhere to put them.
Okay,
You ever
that's
see how they
interesting.
ship those Ford Mavericks too on trains? They like put them up on end. They're like literally on end. I seen a picture of that. Maybe this is all stuff like. Maybe this is all AI stuff I've been subjected to. I'm not sure.
Huh. I have never. Why? I guess you ship them without fluids. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
figure.
pretty sure. Yep,
That just
pretty
seems
sure.
wacky.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? I mean, to me, there wasn't a lot of logic in some of the things that Ford produced, anyways. So, I mean, even to this day, it's like even our Bronco. There's a like the outside material on the top that you remove. There's a part of plastic that stays with the top or stays with the vehicle after you take the top off, and it's like a completely. It's supposed to be matte black with everything else, and it's like can't for where we are. You can't have these two materials match. Like they just don't match. Like it looks like shit, and it's a brand new car. Like I don't really understand it.
All right, I just sent Quentin a link to the video I was talking about. My friend was at this event, or my acquaintance. Um,
Oh shit, dude. Oh
yeah,
man.
it's they had basically I think it was their first event. So this place it was called Parked. It was like underscore Parked underscore, and check it out
Wow.
on Instagram or something like that. It was wicked. But basically they just had like high end stuff. There's a lot of Porsches. There was like a Lamborghini Aventador race car and um, just all sorts of classic stuff. It was super cool. My friend acquaintance was there with a FD RX-7 yellow factory yellow right hand drive RX-7 that was imported from Japan, white wheels.
That's
It's
on the cover there. Thing's fucking
yeah,
rad. Yeah, thing's fucking
yeah.
rad.
I sat
Really
in
rad.
that car. I sat in that car when we were in Tennessee in June, and I got to tell you, being 6'3" is kind of too big for a little Mazda like that.
Oh, is it? I've never. I don't think I've honestly. I don't know that I've ever seen that style RX-7 in person. To be honest, like I don't think I ever have.
Yeah, the
Not that.
FDs
Not that generation.
are pretty small. I mean, they're bigger than a Miata, but I don't know, they're the way they're made because they're like a real true sports car. Um,
Sure.
you're down in the tub and it's like pretty low roof and stuff like that. I would need
Back
to be,
seats, do they?
huh?
Those don't have back seats, do they?
No, true two-seater hatchback. I would almost need a gurney bump to be comfortable in it.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, I just saw. I sent you that Audi V10 with a transmission.
Oh yeah,
Man, that's got me thinking. 5 grand, man. If you could get that to run standalone in something, it's just because it's an Audi. But if you, I got an Audi guy, I think.
you
God,
do
that
have an
sounds
Audi.
so awesome.
So the V10 is the big Audi 5 cylinder that's in like all the RS4s and stuff like that, or RS6, I get, or RS5s. I don't know. I'm not totally an Audi guy, but the 5 cylinder is literally half of that V10. So everything that you can, like, all the knowledge for those 5 cylinders is directly transferable to the V10 because from my understanding, they're the same engine. One's just got two banks.
Just gotta stay off marketplace. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it's that motor, but Cameron Johnson here in Florida, he's got CJ race cars. Um, when I was there, I asked him what was with they have these shirts called the Camber, it said Camberghini on it. And I didn't know if it was
Oh,
like for Cameron, but apparently he's got a 69 Camaro they're building with a Lamborghini V10 or V12. So I don't know if it's that same. Yes. All right.
crazy.
Well, I saw the tube chassis and it sure looked like a front engine to me.
Sure, sure, sure.
And that's what they build generally. So
God, that sounds awesome. God, I want to put a motor in the back of something real bad.
like the
Like I
Morgan
think,
Clark Rover.
like just to have a customer that would, that wants, like, this is the car I want to fuck up, and not say fuck up, but like cut up. Let's cut this thing up. Let's go nuts with this and put a motor in the back of this thing. I think that'd be cool, but it's hard to find the right candidate without getting too quirky. You know,
Yeah. Quentin and
I,
I,
there was a '69 Mustang when we used to when Automotion was like at Wisconsin Dells. There's a '69 Mustang with a big block in the back of that thing. That was pretty cool.
like a goofy Pantera.
Kinda, yeah. Like 4 months Pantera.
Yeah, I don't think you can say 69 Mustang and poor man's in the same sentence anymore.
You're not wrong.
I think they probably almost a value higher than a De Tomaso at this point.
Yeah, it depends on condition, but yeah, you can. I mean, some of those you can get like a fastback 65, 66 for like a driver for 15 grand. Not saying it's nice, but it's surprising that the first gen Mustangs you can get, they're still pretty affordable.
I think I got
Making
my
them cool is a whole other thing to me.
I think back in '09 I paid $1,500 for my 67 coupe with the 289 and the
Yeah,
C4.
that's,
Nothing fancy, but yeah. And then I just
yeah.
hauled it to Wyoming and sold it there. I don't know the sense in that was, but
Now you can pay 5 grand for junk.
for
I
real,
remember,
the prices
yeah,
on Marketplace have really started to have like a course correction for car prices because like there was a while there that
the
like
inflation.
especially with the imports, it's like we went into COVID and then people wanted to do stuff and they realized, hey, I really like this car that was cool when I was in high school, and now all those like '90s cars were super expensive and now they're really starting to come back down. Obviously, for nice examples, you still pay, but it seems like for the general project car market, the prices are becoming more realistic. And I know people
I
are
mean,
holding on to stuff too because the values aren't as high as they were. So they're like, people that have the nice stuff are like not selling right now because they're like, oh, they're waiting for the market to kind of rebalance.
I think a lot of that stuff goes in phases and generationally as well. Like you can, it'll phase out. Like things like COVID really messed things up as far as like people wanting things because they weren't able to go anywhere, and now people want to go places because they can, and they're not spending money on things. So I think there's a lot of waves of different economical things that happen. I mean, I'm just glad like there's companies that came back from COVID. There's like a lot of there's even air ride management companies that went out. I think AccuAir shut down and they opened back up after COVID. But there was
Hmm.
a lot of companies that I'm glad to see they actually came back. And now
Yeah,
it's
that's cool.
dealing with minimal people working at these places, and it's sometimes you have to grit your teeth and you just got to be happy that they're open.
Yeah, it was an interesting time, and I'd like to never think about it again.
Oh yeah, we were doing crash work and it just never stopped. They it was, to me, it was just from the insurance perspective, they didn't give a shit. They would give you a little bit of time to clean the cars up, which is whatever. But yeah, the crash work never really. I mean, it slowed, but at where we were working, it was so busy to where we never really stopped stopped working because they're essential worker, blah 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 blah. But there's just the work was there, never stopped really.
Yeah, it seemed like the whole, well, we don't have to get into it. It seemed like the whole essential workers thing was kind of funny, but
Oh,
I was saying before that I had a funny story on sketchy repairs. My
mm,
friend that I went to college with was from Hawaii. We just literally called him Hawaii because I don't know if you know this. When you're in Wyoming, there's not a lot of Hawaiians.
right.
There was actually three in class, but there was one original one in one of our classes that we were calling Hawaii before it happened. So it's kind of, it got weird when all of a sudden there was multiples. But so we hung out with these Hawaiian dudes, and the one went when he went back to Hawaii after college, he got a job in some body shop, and island life is kind of, there's only so much stuff on the island, and you just try to make everything last, and you just repair stuff with what you have on hand. So all even though this guy absolutely knew the correct way to do things, he got a job at a body shop, and they were working on like an 80s Dodge Caravan that the rockers were like, looks like everything from the 80s and 90s and 2000s in Wisconsin or anywhere in the Rust Belt where it's just rotting out and there's just huge holes. The uh the owner of the shop had him stuff diapers in the holes because
Oh,
diapers are
balls.
moisture absorbent. Okay.
Fucking yeah. Why would that's the opposite of what you want?
And then he had him put chicken wire over it.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
And then just Bondo straight over the chicken wire with the diapers as kind of a
That
backer. So you're
costs
not.
more than buying panels.
Hey, so then the diapers keep the Bondo from squishing through the chicken wire too far. And then they protect it from the backside from moisture. I would think that they would just get soggy.
He must not have kids. Whose diapers is he stealing?
I have no idea. So then he had him. It gets worse. Just get ready. He had him spreading Bondo over it, and then the guy said he does the Marie Callender or whatever Betty Crocker frosting job of Bondo on the outside of it, and then he's cutting the Bondo down with like 60 grit with a whatever, sanding it down, and he went to go mix, or he swept in between layers because there was you're cutting a lot of Bondo, so he's sweeping in between layers, and he went to go mix a new thing of Bondo, and the boss stopped him. He goes, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You're wasting all that?"
Oh,
And he
no.
goes, "Wasting what?" And he goes, "All the Bondo dust you just swept up. You mix it back into the Bondo. It makes it thicker so you can fill bigger holes."
Oh my Christ. Oh no way. Come on.
Yeah, so I don't know.
That's nuts to me.
It's a lesson for all of us. But the
Hey, we work
boss
for one of those kind of guys.
the guy that signs your checks tells you what to do, and unless you're in a position where you can take the moral high ground and say kick rocks, I guess you're putting diapers and chicken wire in the Dodge.
You're not wrong. Jeez Louise. That's bad. That's real bad. You ever found anything cool in a car like when you're taking it apart?
Um, Tools. Um, I found like for on the '70s cars, sometimes the trunk kind of went. What really weirded me out is maybe mine was just that rotten, but it seemed like the trunk floor on the second gen Camaros doesn't go all the way to the quarter panel. I think that the carpet originally would have blocked, or maybe there was like a carpet or like a wood mat, but the floor pan kind of went and then rolled down, and so there was like a pocket in the quarter panel between the trunk floor and the quarter panel. I don't know, it's really weird, but I had a bunch of I found some tools down in there. Um, in my Datsun, I found a bunch of like 1980s Japanese music equipment, like
Really? That's kind of cool.
there was an amplifier that you had to have a key to turn on. It was like a
Yikes.
security for your stereo, so like nobody would want to steal it if they didn't have the key.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
That's
nothing
interesting.
like Nothing real wild. Sometimes you get like little Easter eggs of things that you never would have guessed. Like the second gen Camaro came with a flat spare tire to save room, and then it had a can of air, like an
Oh yeah,
aerosol can.
the Mustang thing for sure. That the inflatable, what do they call them? Collapsible flat or whatever they are. Yeah, they're really dumb.
It's just it seemed odd. It seemed like I would worry about that can losing its air.
Yeah, yep, yeah. I've found in the '38 Chevy we bought, we tore the back seat out of there, and there was like it had to be like a '50s magazine, like a nudie magazine. There wasn't any like the nudie make parts, but you could see like the ads in the back. You could tell they were definitely from, you know, those kind of magazines.
They
But
probably got
it
it
was
for
pretty.
the articles.
Yeah, it's definitely for the articles. There was I think it was a '67 Mustang we worked on, or '68, '67 or '68 Mustang, and it had underneath the undercoating inside the door. It's like somebody stuck a quarter and like just undercoated over it, and that was pretty cool to find like the year, like whoever was putting the car together, clearly like it was intentional.
Hmm.
So I found coins like that in cars, but nothing else too crazy. I don't think. Sometimes you find quirky little things like a pack of matches from some random place, and you're
Yeah,
digging like where is this car kind of thing. But other than that, nothing too exciting. But
yeah.
oh,
I know a lot of times in like the Japanese cars, people find like Japanese cigarette boxes and stuff stuffed under seats, and
cool. Yeah.
um, I, I always thought it was fun when sometimes you find the build sheet like under a seat or something like that,
Mhm.
where it's got all the specs
I've
for the
tried
car.
other things. Just don't remember. Everything's usually. I mean, the cars that are in here were pretty much torn into and cleaned out by the time they by the time they got to me. So
Right. You're not generally getting something right from a field.
that one '69 that we got here, that was there was when he brought it in and it started warming up, there were bugs flying out of every crevice. Like it was warming up. It was pretty nuts.
When I was in high school, my friend got a Mustang 2 from his uncle that had been sitting in a field for like a decade. And we went and yanked it out of this field, towed it to my shop that my friend and I rented. And when we got there, we were digging through it, and there was just like all the garbage that was in it from his uncle being a filthy human. Like he just left everything in there. And my friend opened up the McDonald's bag that was over a decade old, and the French fries looked like they were made yesterday.
Nice.
And of course, everybody at least knew that kid at school. If not, if they weren't friends with him, he tried them, and he said it wasn't that bad.
Just
Uh,
refry them and yeah, man.
what is it made out of that it can last 10 years in a field?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's pretty rough. That's gross. Ugh.
Had the cool vintage McDonald's logo, like bag and logos and stuff, though.
Right. Have you ever done like a drive-in? Like, are you too young for that to do
A
like
drive,
drive-in stuff?
like a drive-in theater,
No, like a drive-in, like you go and
A and
eat,
W.
like kind of like. Oh, I guess they have A&Ws now. Yeah,
Um,
they don't do that anymore, do they? Anywhere? I don't know anywhere. Not around here anymore that does it.
when Fond du Lac had an A and W, I think that had the drive-through still. We used to go when I was a kid. They'd hang the tray on your window and do all
Oh
that.
yeah, 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 for
And
sure.
I think they still. Oh no, they what they have now, I think is in. I think what's in Fond du Lac, they have a ice cream place now. I think it's in the old. Um,
Sure.
I think it's called Gillies or something like that. But they have like the whole drive up thing where you can order stuff out. And I think you could get like burger there or whatever. But I think it was an old A&W they turned into that. When I was in college, we used to go to the Sonic because I was like kind of close to a drive-in,
Oh, okay.
and we used to all hang out there. I ate a lot of tater tots, that's for sure. But you could roll up with the motorcycle, and then since it was Wildtech, I mean there was a lot of people there with different cars and whatever. So
Oh, I'm sure. That had to be kind of a blast in that town, like kind of a redneck town, but also like a lot of cars everywhere too.
Yeah, it was fun. You could pretty much bump into somebody to talk cars with at pretty much anywhere you went.
Sure. Not like anywhere else where you talk cars and you're like, I don't know. To me, some places you start talking about cars and they just want to talk about sports and shit. Not knocking sports by any means, but it's just not my gig. Like
Yeah,
motorsports, maybe.
I'm not huge into the sports ball.
Me neither. Sports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
football's for the devil.
Ow.
Mama says. Um, yeah. So what do you got planned for this week?
Probably getting the other Uniside put in that 69. I was just waiting to get this little corner untweaked to get that up to get this side. Basically, like, I have to finish one side, move my jig or re-put the pinch clamps on that side, move all my jigs to the other side, and then do everything on that side. And then I'm going to weld everything together. But I'm have everything very tied together before everything gets loosened up. But yeah, I'm just trying not to lose all my measurements because there's not really upper body dimensions that you can find for these cars. So I'm trying to save as much as I can while I can.
Did you take a bunch of like tram gauge type measurements point to point on a bunch of stuff?
Yeah, as much as I can. In the end, they kind of fit how they fit. So we're just gonna just hold glass up into the openings, just make sure there's enough room for the things we need.
Yeah.
And that, a guy can put the doors on and put the door glass up, but it's really the side openings are the door glass is actually adjustable. So it kind of is what it is with the side openings as far as like they are a shape, and without me
Right.
remaking the shape door opening for the side glasses, like that'd be pretty insane. But some of it is making sure. I think we're gonna have to maybe mount some of that trim in. I don't know, some of the door opening trim. There's a lot of stuff that should be fit. It didn't the unisides didn't come with drip rails either, so I had to order those. So I'll have to fit those on there as well. But it is coming apart, or it's going together a lot faster than I thought it was going to. I thought I'd be like on it all week, and I'd just be getting the uniside up in Friday afternoon. Well, I had it up in there. I thought it was Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning or something like that. So it's just getting it in there and getting it fit are two very different scenarios. So even I have it pretty much welded, not like heavy duty welded, but it's tacked to the frame rack. So I have measurements from the old rocker, even like to the frame rack, the front tip of the rocker to the frame rack. So I know like the height wise. So we have the door gap is going to be hopefully saved in the almost same spot. So a lot of that stuff I have measurements for it, but getting this uniside to get up where I need it to be, not always. Like unisides are always kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I imagine windshield and back glass. Well, you have quarter panels in already, so windshield's really the big worry. And then, do the door windows have where you can tilt them in and out? Do they have that adjustment?
Yeah, they got all that stuff. Those
Okay.
things are so adjustable. They're like kind of a nightmare to work on in my eyes.
Yeah, I imagine. And I also imagine that even 1969, 1970, those cars had a lot of leeway from the factory.
And it has aftermarket doors, so all of those things combined is going to be a big headache once I get to that point. When we got the car, the door glass is in the doors, so I'm going to have to, and they don't really function. So I'm going to have to pull everything apart just to be able to get the door glass to function in the door itself, let alone fit the car.
Right.
A
Hmm.
lot of it is where the regulars bolt on. Sometimes you got to auger a hole to get the right angle on it. There's a
Well, if
lot.
you're
I mean, aftermarket doors on the 66, I had to, with the location of the door handle to the striker or to the latch in the door, because it was an aftermarket door and it wasn't exactly right, I had to lengthen the rod that attaches the two, because if it's a little too long, it won't latch properly. And if it's a little too short, it won't. It's like just
Yep.
little things like that. It's like, and then the bolt pattern itself for in the aftermarket door for the latch was like a little off. So I had to cut the ear off the latch and then weld it back in the right spot. So there were still 3 attachment points. Some of the aftermarket stuff is a pain in the balls, but it's also way, way, way better than dealing with rust. Is making
Way
something
better.
function. Making something function with no rust is money ahead than fixing something that could potentially work that is still has rust in it. I mean, a lot of the times you're not peeling open the edge of the door to make sure there's not rust under the lip, and there always is. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I feel you. Rust is I love being out of the rust belt so much. It's not even funny.
I believe it.
I'm
I really
starting
believe.
I'm starting to wonder if I really love my truck that much or if it's like the
You
first
can't believe it this long.
it's the southern truck version of the first pretty girl I've ever seen or something. It's like I was doing brakes on it and every single brake fitting came loose with a 10 millimeter open end wrench. Every single one, front to
It
rear.
happened here. That doesn't
And
happen here at all.
I every time I do something like that where I'm like so used to it being the big fight, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I gotta do brake lines. I get done and I go in the house and I tell my wife, I love that truck. But it at the same time, I think it's like I said, if I worked on pretty much any Southern truck, I think that the dealer tag on the tailgate when I got it said Fort Myers Toyota or something like that. So I mean, it's just always been here, and if somebody kept it out of the coastal sand, it should pretty much have never been salted up real bad.
There's something to say about the ocean salt though, because we did a car. I did a car that was from Cuba,
Oh yeah. Oh, I
and
remember that.
and then when ended up going back to Cuba,
Yep.
but the rust on that thing was so strange. It is not Wisconsin rust. It was like if there was a rust hole this big in Wisconsin, you have a problem this big, right? Or bigger usually. It's really large. The rust hole this big, and you could almost die grind the edge of it and weld a piece into it.
It's a
Yeah,
very
it
different.
was so strange.
It's a very different salt that comes out of the ocean versus
Yeah.
what is spread on the road. Because I
But
think
that car, I think the only thing we saved it was a convertible. The only thing we saved were the top of the drive shaft tunnel, the outer rockers, and the convertible part, the windshield and the convertible parts. Everything else has changed. That thing was pretty nuts. This 69 I have on the rack is the only one that rivals that as far as how deep I've dug into a Mustang.
that car was a big it was like a rare GT500 convertible or something, right? Wasn't there something special about the number on it?
It was a some Shelby something something something. I thought it was a six. Was it 69?
No, I don't
69.
know.
I think it was 69 or 70. So I'm pretty sure it had fiberglass front fenders and yeah, yep. Because a 70 isn't a 70 Mustang, a Shelby Mustang different from a 70 Mustang. I think 70 didn't Mustang change in 70 and then
No,
69 70 Shelby was a carryover of a 69.
so a 69 has the quarter scoop, a 70 is the same without the scoop in the quarter. In a regular Mustang.
Oh, I must have
And
something
then
else confused.
71 they changed over to the ones that
Yeah,
had the
my
interior heater
brain,
back window.
my brain has a lot of this with Mustang information.
So my dad being a Mustang guy when I was growing up, got me for Christmas one year a like coffee table Mustang book where it's like
Sure.
the real like double size paper, and it had like every year in it. And being that I was raised before smartphones, I and the internet wasn't very good, I just would read this. I read this whole book, so like I'm pretty good at, I'm sure you are too, from a different type of way, but like I can look at a Mustang, I can go, oh, that's this year or whatever, just from little quirks because I remember reading about all of it. But
For me, until you get in the mid 70s, then I lose it. Like the early mid 70s, I start to lose it all because to me they're not like the same car after that.
yeah, yeah. There's a rare occasion where a 71 through 73 looks cool. Um, but for the most
Yeah,
part, all of
change everything about it.
you just have to change everything about it. I don't
That's it.
know. That's the car that was in the original Gone in 60 Seconds. It was like a 72 or something like that.
Lame.
I do love I love the scene in that where he does the car trace in the Mustang, and it's like just totally trashed, and he pulls in the back of a car wash, and there's the identical Mustang on the inside the car wash at that time, and he like sneaks in and takes that one and leaves his trashed one in the back of the car wash. And so then he
That's what
drives away
happens.
in it, and then the lady that drove like the matching one that he
Oh,
stole, she comes out, and then the trashed car comes through the car wash, and she's like, "What happened?" For those
yeah,
of
I
you
don't
that
know that
haven't
I've ever
seen the original Gone in 60, go and do it
right.
for educational purposes.
Educational. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a hard
Oh,
watch, but it's like any early 70s movie.
right. Yeah.
It's like
No
Bullet, you
doubt.
know what I mean? It's like a little too slow, but there's good parts.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I forgot where I was going with all that, but that's the way it goes.
no doubt.
I um I think not Quentin and I don't want to show our cards because we want there's a car that we either one of us in our group needs to get, and
Mm,
it's hiding in a place, and we're not going to say too much about this car, but one of us needs to get it, so we need to
States.
make sure nobody knows where it is. And
It's in the
I'm like,
United.
it's
It
in the
breaks it
United
down.
States, and it would be a huge internet breaker of a thing to build, I think. But one of us needs to get it, and I'm probably 2 years from something like that because I'm getting my Tundra in a good place, and I have my kid's truck up next, which is a frame off build for a '93 Toyota pickup. I know that sounds insane, but that thing's going to be pretty serious, and
Not for years, man.
I need I promised myself when we moved that I would not spread myself so thin as I used to, where I'd have 7 projects and none of them would get anywhere. And I don't know if you guys know this. What's cooler than 7 torn apart cars is one that you can drive down the road that's cool. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I try to focus money and energy into one thing at a time, at least to get them to like checkpoints. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna get my Tundra to the point where I have the long travel front suspension and the body's on and the wheels are on and it's got the stance and it's drivable. And then I'm gonna do like little tweaks. Like I've been looking at trying to come up with cool carpet options, or you know what I mean? Like now the outside of the truck's super cool. The inside's very
Sure.
nasty 2002. So those things though, that doesn't count as a project car to me. That's just like changing seats, changing upholstery, changing a
Sure.
dashboard. I mean, anything that can be done in a weekend is not a project car, or not a big project. But so I've had very good luck with that, and it's helped with video series a lot. Like, because I don't know if you go on YouTube, you go to watch a video of something, you stumble on a project, and you go to watch it, and there's no end because something happened
Yeah.
and the project got sold or life happened.
Oh yeah,
Um,
sure.
So like things like my boat project, my $175 boat, I bought it. I started a video series on it when I was actually serious about working on it. Like it sat in my yard for 2 years before I really did anything with it. And then I just made a video every few weeks and with the progress, and my wife and I and my son, we all just worked on it. And then at the end of the series, which the videos were getting like 200 views. At the end of the series, when I start posting shorts and posting videos of a finished boat, and then you get to go, then people see that and it's in a playlist or whatever, then they go, oh, this boat turned out pretty cool, and then they see what it started out as, a $175 boat, they get to go back. So same thing's happening with the truck. I have the original, I blew up my engine video, and my wife told me to build my truck
Sure.
however I want, which is probably something she should regret. I have that video from just, oh, I blew my
You
truck
want
up
to
in
hear
the,
about the truck even longer, don't you?
I blew it up last November or something like that. So
Yeah.
we're coming up on a year of building it, and it is literally not the same truck as it was. It's got the same
Yeah.
seats.
No doubt.
That's about it. Seats, transmission. That's most of what's stayed in it. So when I get to this next big checkpoint where my truck is, you know, a wide stance pre-runner with long travel, and I can start posting videos of me just like mashing through sand and stuff like that. And, um, it's going to help that build. So my kid's truck is next on the docket. I promise I'm getting somewhere. And then after that, there is a car that I really want to get, but I need to put a shop up and I need to have a space to get it and put it and haul it here
Yeah,
because it is not um, next door. And
it's not a small project.
but it could be the next big thing, and it would be an excellent
I agree.
candidate for a V10. And
So I think so. I think
that
if you're
was,
going less than 10 cylinders, you got it wrong.
I think there's a lot of ways that it could turn out really good, and I think the biggest thing would be to get that car on the road for the first time.
Ever.
Well, it's ever, but we'll say in a long time.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it's. Yeah, I guess what do you call on the road? Because it's gone places.
It's definitely gone places. So, if you're listening to this in 5 years, go check out my channel and hopefully it's there. That or it's on Quentin's. Um,
Oh yeah,
but until then, we're gonna keep talking about fucking cars.
fucking cars.
So you're doing the Unicide, the other Unicide this week. Um, I plan to my stiffer springs come for the truck on Tuesday. So after we record here today, if I have the energy, I'm going to take the front end back apart on my truck because I don't know if
Yeah,
you
dude.
know
You know how
when
it comes
your
apart now.
when your suspension or when your shock travels 12 inches, it gets really long. So I actually have to unbolt my upper control arms to get them out. Um,
Oh, that sounds like a pain in the ass.
it's not my upper control arm is literally one bolt. It goes all the way through.
I guess if you have enough room.
But Toyota engineering. So I just have to unbolt my wheel, jack the truck up, and then I just pop that one. Um, it's a 14 millimeter, no, 12. I don't know. It's like a 3/4. It's a 19 millimeter head bolt, and you just pop it right through. And since somebody built everything on a jig, the bolt slides in and out nice. And so I'll pull that, and then there's a little bit of adjusting I want to do to the shock tower. I built them and they worked just fine, but then I discovered if I tilt them inboard a little bit more and just pound on the inner fenders, I get a little bit more travel out of them. So I did the one side already. I'm going to do that side if I feel up to it today, and then hopefully by next weekend, I'm I'm driving right off the side of the road and the ditch was that truck.
Yeah, hell yeah. That sounds like fun. I'm also gonna fit in some time on this the Model A chop that I have going on. Just welding some of the roofing back together, and I think I'm gonna try and weld the majority because we use a Mustang roof. So like the new basically mating some of the roof panels because they didn't have a roof or a center roof section. So mating the side roof panels to the center roof, and and then attaching that to the top of the drip rails I have that we made for it. So I think some of this I might assemble some of that roof like off the car and get all the welds hammered out off the car. It's gonna be faster.
Fun.
So we'll see.
What are you using? Do you use a big plenishing hammer, or what do you use to
If,
do that?
if I have the ability, I just put in the power hammer. It's gonna knock that weld out like couple passes through that, and your hammer and your weld's like it's where it needs to be. The plenishing
Nice.
hammer will do the same thing, and it will probably be a little more finesse, but it'll take a lot longer to get there too. So just, I mean, because it's an outside crown and we're not dealing with like flat, you can, to a certain extent, you don't really want to, but to a certain extent, you can overstretch it and not really know because you're on a rounded section of the sides of the car. So, um, and then sometimes a shrink disc when you're done just grabs the high spots and brings everything back flat again. You don't necessarily want to set yourself up to be using the shrink disc all the time on brand new sheet metal you just fabricated, but if you need to, you need to. It's just one of the tools in the belt. Yeah,
Hell
but
yeah.
that I got to figure out the quarter bottoms on it. It's a lot.
Always a lot.
Yeah, and it's always more than you anticipate. It doesn't matter what car it is, or it's. I mean, you can have the freshest car in the world, and you start digging into it, and you're gonna find something that you didn't really love about it.
Yep. But sure is satisfying when it rolls out the door.
Yeah, I'd imagine cars that are from down south are just a lot less problems. Because I mean,
Different problems, I would say. But rust is a huge problem.
yeah, I mean, some of the I what I don't like around that because these cars have been in this area for so long. Some of these cars have been in like Wisconsin cars. Just because it's been here a long time doesn't, it's probably been worked on and a lot. And that's the problem.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's like
found
the
that
shitty repair, like you were saying before, like the shitty repairs. It's like terrible when you start digging into them.
we obviously have heard of, and I'm sure you've run into it. There's people that buy stuff down south and haul it up north, and they sell southern cars, and like that's a whole business model. You just drive down here with a big wedge trailer, and you haul two or three
Yep.
cars back up north with you. I have also found that they're very strange for Florida specifically. Florida's like living on an island, for lack of a better term, because if you're south of Gainesville, so if you're in the bottom two-thirds of the state, you have no bordering states anywhere.
Sure,
And,
you're just buying what's available in the area.
and I'm not even in the southern. I have a couple hours to get down to the south end of the state from where I'm at, and it's if for me to get out of Florida is 5 hours.
Jeez.
So it's like an incredibly long, narrow state. So what happens in Florida is there's not a huge, and there's a lot of swampland and agriculture land. So there's not. It's like very concentrated on the outer borders, and that's it. And there's only so much cars in that space, whether it's classic cars, tuner
Yeah,
cars, commuter cars, and so the value of just even everyday stuff here is much higher because if it's something decent, there's a lot of people that need something or want something, and there's not like a huge availability. Um, so I have a friend who's even like sometimes he'll buy a cheap car, like he'll go up north and he'll buy a cheap car there and bring it back here and just sell it for like a daily driver. And because
I was just looking to that. Yeah.
when you're in the northern or the regular part of the contiguous United States, you have all these bordering states, so there's competition. You know what I mean? And so you could
Yeah,
have a whole
people.
business model of hauling southern cars up north and then hauling cheap northern cars down to Florida
Totally
and
agree.
and
There's something to be said where there's customers that don't really look at a car down south like they would up north.
right.
They don't know to look for these things. And that's where I think a lot of these people get in trouble, especially buying cars online. These southern boys don't really understand how terrible some of these cars up here are.
Right.
Just because they've been around, and it's really not knocking. I don't really see a lot of people. I do see some people, but I don't see a lot of people doing shitty work like that and putting cars out at that like terrible, terrible level to where. But these cars have been worth money for 30, 40 years. So and they haven't been dug into that deep. So and then when you actually do dig into them, it's like, oh shit, this repair was from 35 years ago, and this was a terrible. This was like the way they repaired them then. So I mean, it's just kind of the way the shit goes. But I've heard of people taking cars from Wisconsin and selling them down south just because people aren't vetting them.
Right. I yeah, I think it's my friend. He even I think the last time he went up when he brought us the '93 Toyota pickup back, he drove up there in a car he bought cheap here, bought like an $800 car here, fixed spent a month or so buttoning up a couple things, drove it up north to Wisconsin, and then when he was up there, he left the car there for sale on Marketplace, and then he bought a Land Cruiser up there for when he got here, when he told me what he paid, I told him I would immediately pay him that amount because it was like a fifth of what one goes for here. It's a little rougher, but when you're talking 20% of the price of what they sell for here, there's a lot of time there for labor when it's nothing major. It's just little nitpicky stuff. But yeah, he literally bought a cheap car here, drove it up there, sold it for big profit, bought a cheap car there, drove it down here, and kept that one. But could have made a
I
huge
mean,
profit on that.
even in the rural areas here, like Marshfield, we don't have like there's places that'll work on import stuff, but it's when you start getting into engines and stuff of import cars and like high end import stuff, nobody around here wants to touch it. So it's just not going to simply exist here. So I mean,
Right.
I see Maserati. I don't remember what it was, but the thing looked dope on Marketplace. It was like 10 grand, but it had some quirky problem with it that nobody wanted to touch. And the thing was like, dude, it was a hot looking car, but like I said, who wants to dig into the engine of a Maserati in Marshfield, Wisconsin? Not this guy.
Yeah, I think Maseratis, because I've actually noticed that here. It's not to be any way about it, but like you'll see a Maserati in front of a place that rents out for pretty cheap, and
Yeah, right.
from what I've realized is those cars are super nice, super engineered, super fast. They have all the cool things going for them, but they're like a boat or a camper. The manufacturer only I think only expects people to buy them and keep them for the period of time that the warranty lasts. And then
Right,
after that, nobody wants to work on it. The parts are super expensive. The parts are not really available. And Maserati probably isn't going to continue making a ton of parts. There's no aftermarket. And
right.
so the market for those cars are people that buy them new, and then the value drops tremendously because I'll be sitting at Walmart waiting for my groceries to get delivered, and a Maserati will pull up next to me with a bunch of guys in their 20s.
Right.
And I'm like, maybe I should have made different
Like what
financial
decisions
choices.
got him here? Yeah. What did I do wrong? God damn it.
But good for them. I guess it probably feels pretty sweet to roll around in the Maserati.
I thought, man, the body was like fantastic looking for like 10 grand. Just LS swap that thing. And, but I'm not like put an LS and stuff kind of guy. But I mean, if it fits, if the guy wants, customer wants it, I do it. But I think until they start coming out with, GM starts coming out with something that's a little cooler. I mean, the supercharged LS stuff or LT, whatever, it's cool, but it's still, I don't know. It just seems so recycled. Like it gets boring. I don't know. The twin turbo, everything with turbo is like that's a lot of work. Like these guys that are
Yeah.
putting, create supercharged LS or LT, whatever it is. Um, just seems like I'm not. I mean, this is coming from a guy that doesn't really dig into mechanical stuff, but the twin turbo stuff is ultra impressive just because of how hard it actually is.
Yeah, and I think that the guys that work on it regularly would probably argue with you. They get so numb to it, just feels like regular wrenching. But
I guess.
I have always leaned like part of the reason I like traditional hot rods is because I like simplicity. And to me, like you're just adding systems and systems and all this
Yeah.
stuff that
No.
can cause problems. So I generally shied away from a lot of that. But it's cool. But also on that subject, I noticed like when we were at that um, FL2K, kind of the same thing you're saying with like, oh, there's so many LS and LTs and swaps and all this stuff that you kind of get numb to it. It
Yeah, yeah.
it seems like every single car that I run into at like these big events in Florida, like these high end events, every single one of those, if you saw it in the wild, you'd be like, holy crap, that's a sweet build,
Yeah,
or oh, that's a
yeah.
really cool car.
You're not
But then when you see 300 of them in the pits, you're like, and each one is individually cool. Like, I'm not saying there's
right.
300 stock Lamborghini Huracans or 300 3,000 horsepower Hondas or something like that, right? I'm talking, or probably not 3,000, but like 1,300 horse. But it's still a lot. Um, but like each of these cars individually, if you somebody opened a garage door and you saw that sitting there next to their daily driver, you'd be like, holy shit. But then when you see them all together, just like when you see everybody's got an LS or an LT swapped into something or a new car that's got one, like you just don't get that excited about it. It's like this, I don't know.
I've
Even
always
while I'm
been.
there, I'm like,
I mean,
maybe I should take the time to appreciate these.
right. To me, it's almost like I almost enjoy being the counter against, like, I don't know, the group think. I try and stay away from the group think to a certain extent. I'm not sure if that holds true exactly to reality, but when there's like a ton of people going down one lane, it seems like to me it's like, well, why are we all going down this lane? Because there's a lot of other lanes to go down. So I don't know. I mean, I've always been I really, really, really like traditional hot rods and customs. And the reason that there's a K in the name of our name of Hungry Hollow Customs is because of like, I love customs, like 40s and 50s custom cars, like my car behind me. But it doesn't really translate to a business model either. You know, the traditional hot rods and customs, they don't really, unless you have your name and your avenue is carved out for traditional hot rods and customs. There's, to me, the hot rods that have been in the shop, this isn't an knock to the traditional hot rod and custom avenue, but it's almost like there is, from a business perspective, there's more money in the resto mod stuff. And just since opening the business, I really like the avenue of both. Like I
Right.
really love the new stuff, and I mean I've really grown even more of appreciation for import stuff. Even I've always liked it, but even more now. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I think in this small town there's less and less of everything. So when you do see something cool, it's like, fuck, that's really cool. I mean, I even get excited about young kids with loud cars in town because it's somewhat keeping the shitheads alive in these small towns. You know? But I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't even know where I was going with all that.
I think the more you pour yourself into all these things, the more you appreciate the effort, even if it's not exactly your thing, but you appreciate the effort and the willingness somebody's
Yeah.
putting into something,
Oh,
even if they're into something weird, you know what I mean? Like, just
mm-hmm.
because it's not your flavor doesn't mean it's not cool. It's not, you don't, or can't appreciate the lengths that they've gone to make something that way. Or
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the generation now of all. I mean, the young whatever the young kids are driving now, it's just same as the kids in the high school driving Model A's in the 50s. It's the same thing, just
right.
with different bodies, different cars, just what's affordable in front of you. It's not like the Model A's that were being driven around in the 50s were nice. Like maybe there were a few. I know there were, but I can tell you, not the majority of them were not nice. Like
Right.
not. You had to go to a high end show to see a nice car being a nice Model A.
Yeah. Well, hopefully somebody's keeping everything alive.
I mean, there's in all genres there are people keeping this stuff alive. What concerns me is when, I mean, this is no fault to the younger generation because they have different communication than we ever had. But when I talk to a younger person that just turned 16, but 16 to 18, and they don't care about their license, it's like, man, what does the future of any of this look like? You know? But just like
Yeah.
stepping way back, like, is the pool of actual people that want to drive a vehicle going to become that small in our lifetime? Because it seemingly will.
And I think we got to make sure not to discourage people at no matter what point in that journey they're at. Because, like, my friend that is probably, like, as far as the level of mechanics, like the highest level of working on cool cars and stuff like that, that on the mechanical side that I know, when I met him, he was driving a 94 Grand Prix with a glass pack.
Sweet.
And now his shop's got, over $100,000 worth of just his, in like two or three cars. So
Yeah.
like we all start out with that, with just whatever we can get our hands on and whatever we can afford at the time. But just because
Yeah.
some kid's got a noisy car and it's a dumb car, or in your eyes, doesn't. I mean, you shouldn't put them down.
Well, for sure. I mean, there's some of it where if you're not exposed to it, you're not exposed to it. I wasn't exposed to traditional hot rods and customs. I mean, I saw some of them at car shows when I was a kid because I've been going to car shows since I was a real little kid. But having that avenue being shown to me wasn't. I just wasn't exposed to it until I started hanging out in the Fox Valley area and people that were actually super nerdy about it. So I mean, to me, it's almost like an avenue. It sounds stupid. Like, and you can make custom car. To me, there's no like end of the road for custom cars as far as like what you can do with them. But to me, there's almost, I like building cars with limitations, but in traditional hot rod and customs, there are a lot of limitations to be able to say it is that.
Right.
So to me, it almost gets a little washed over. Yeah, that's traditional custom. Yeah, that's a traditional hot rod. It's like there's a lot of cool new products out there too. At the same time, it's hard to ignore the really, really cool and high tech stuff at the same time. So that's why I don't know. I really love both of them, but I don't think my car is going to end up being. I mean, it's already got a 350, a 700 R4, so it's like definitely and Mustang 2 front suspension and a 4 link in the back. So it's really definitely not traditional underneath at all.
Yeah, I think anytime you're building something, like, shouldn't get too hung up on, like, if it's something you want to do or you think it's something that's the best for you or for your project, like, I wouldn't get too hung up on trying to fit into some constraints, like,
No, I mean, yeah, I get that.
so. And I think that everybody maybe needs to know that.
To me, do you think that do you ever build a car or have an idea for a car and you almost have like a story in the back of your mind of how this car, like, let's pretend this car, like, to a certain extent, I would thought my car could have been built in the late 60s or in the mid 60s, and you could put like a pro charger on it, but not like make it have like the brand on it, but make it look like old. I think Rob
Oh
Ida
yeah,
does a lot of stuff like that, where
yeah, I like
it's
that.
old, but it's new, but you make it look like it probably should have been there from the factory, but it's all new technology on top underneath, I guess.
Yeah, I like that stuff actually a lot. I think that's pretty cool when they, just kind of tuck and hide all the new stuff. But um, everybody's gonna enjoy the car more if you can actually drive it and it's dependable. So, like,
Yeah, you're not wrong.
but there's also times where, like, you and I think it was a 29. There was a 29 Model A that was actually like an old school hot rod. Remember that one?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
and like
yep.
sitting in an actual
Well,
period built car was just like so cool. But
that car was thrown together in the 2000s, though.
oh, what really was it? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing that really irritates me about this period traditional stuff. It's like, yeah, it's a traditional hot rod and it's period, and to me, a lot of these guys are you can get big money for this traditional stuff that's never been touched, and if you're using the right parts, you can build a car right now
That's never been touched.
that's never been touched, and that's what that car was.
It was still sweet.
It actually went to Germany.
Really?
Yeah, it went to Germany, and then so I had driven that car to a car show, and then to try and help sell it. And then after that, it went. I think it was that winter. It ended up getting sold to this guy in Germany, and then he put up a picture on. I can't remember what site it was, like Kill Billet. I don't know if you remember Kill Billet. It used to be like kind of rat roddy, but
Yeah.
like there's some rad stuff and some like traditional stuff. But it wasn't the ham, because there's like a lot of the guys in the ham were like dicks if it wasn't like strictly traditional. Um,
Ham dicks.
yeah. Um, but so he put a picture up there, basically like, does anybody know any past history on this? Because it was supposedly a traditional build. Because the place that sold it to him, the place we used to work for, sold it to him as a traditional hot rod built in the 50s, put together in the 50s. So I messaged this guy back. I'm like, I actually drove the car. I wouldn't like, and I'm a nerd about this stuff, and I would know. So push comes to shove, this dude from Germany messages the play, yeah, messages the place that sold it, and they call me at my job, chewing me out because I told their customer
The truth.
the truth, basically. Yeah, yeah. And then this person that chewed me out, the sister of the owner, ended up quitting because they found out that the owner was not
Shyster.
truthful. Yeah. So like, thanks for calling me out and chewing me out at my new job, bunch of
Super
dicks.
cool.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. That guy got
That
stories
guy.
all day.
Yeah, they come up often, it seems.
Yeah, I suppose. Get something else done today. Church is over.
Why don't you tell everybody where to find you online?
Oh, you can find me in Wisconsin on the Instagram, on the YouTube. Hey, I got a YouTube 100 followers now. Woohoo!
Hey, that's big.
I know. Big time. And
I think
Facebook.
I think it took me 6 months to get 100 followers when I started mine back in the day.
I thought it was kind of a big deal, and then I'm like, well, it went over 100. Now it's at 101. I'm like, well, that didn't last too long. Yeah. Big deal. Now we got 200, right?
It's always good to have goals and always good to appreciate the
Yeah,
milestones.
it's interesting. But where do they find you, man?
Find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube's the big one, Terra-SharkTV, and you can find me right here, fucking cars.
Fuck guys.
Until next time, keep fucking with them.
Keep fucking with cars.
Bye.
Bye.
Available in audio form everywhere you listen to podcasts. If you want to see it in video, you can go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/F_CKINGCARS. And just for $5 a month, you can get all of our podcasts in video format, extra bloopers at the end, so you can get a little bit more feel. You can see some of the things we're working on, even some of our more inappropriate moments, and help support the channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification so you get notified every week when we post a new episode.
Did you get a haircut just for this?
No, not just for this. It ended up being a little shorter than need be, but whatever. I don't really care. It's hat season here anyway.